agree on, and then we enforce or pass them into law, okay, then we can open the doors for mining to commence again. And then we make sure that we go by the laws that we have both agreed that we will work by. So a state of emergency, I believe, is important. Even though the government state is very difficult to do such a thing, I don't see the difficulty here. You don't have, definite laws, that guide the security of your environment. So why don't you pause these activities for a while, like at least 1 year, okay? Structure these laws and enforce them into law. And then you open the gates again for people to come about mine. It is not something far-fetched. I think it's something as a nation we should be able to do.
Yeah.
That's right.
Rightly said. Now let's go back to your music career.
That's right.
Let's look at some of the challenges you face as a musician and also doubling as an advocate. What are some challenges you face and how do you overcome them?
Well, challenges, especially in Ghana, there are quite a number of challenges. The major one being that Ghanaians are not very receptive to the kind of music that my crop of musicians do, conscious musicians, like environmentally friendly music. Ghanaians are the type who would want to always react to music with their bodies. They want to dance. They don't want to pay so much heed to the words that have been said onto the music. So that is one big challenge. That is why my focus has been so much out there, because out there, I have a lot of people who are actually paying attention to my music. Like I was featured on United Nations events just because somebody heard my song and then felt these lyrics, suit into an event that they want to organize. And so they flew me out to Ethiopia. I went to perform with Grammy-nominated artists and all that. So one challenge, people paying attention to what we actually say into music, that challenge outside there.
Yeah.
And then activism, like I've said, people don't really care what you say onto the music. I wish the global mindset was the same mindset Ghanaians had, but I think it will take us quite some time, to actually get there.
Okay, so I know our viewers will be wondering, what kind of music is this man talking about and all that? Let's take a look at one of his songs. When we come back, we'll continue with the discussion.
Awesome.
Because we are all dreaming of peace. But can you give us a line or two from what you just, like what we
Definitely,
just saw? Yeah.
definitely. So it starts like this. I want to see light in life, love operating on the planet, which an ending to all the wars. The peoples of the north, south, east, and west. North becomes south, east becomes west. It's no separation. I want to see the little kid go to school happily, never fearing where the bullet is going to flow from. I want to see the destruction of WMD, weapons of mass destruction, mass destruction of people. What we're looking for. I want to see an end to global greediness while we're sharing equally the resources of all the earth. Yes, I prefer to see the complete eradication of poverty, wish prosperity, progress to the whole human race. Wow. I pray the day that we see the oneness of all peoples, the day that we believe that enough is available for each and every human on this planet, we can live it decent. Add your wishes, my letter to mankind. Is it?
Oh. now.
Yes.
That's so beautiful. But
That's
do you
right.
think, Ghanaian music industry is given enough space for socially conscious musicians like yourself?
So that is one of the challenges I've identified, that it is not really giving a lot of such space, to people like me. So artists like me in Ghana currently, I would say, are struggling. Yes, but these same artists go out there and
Yeah.
they are embraced. I was in Brussels and the show was massive. Like the connect I made after the show was amazing. And they actually approached me because of what I was saying in the music.
Yeah.
That is what makes me feel like, okay, my niche is not really out here in Ghana, so I need to pay so much attention outside there.
No, but the focus is Ghanaians, right?
Yes,
But
definitely.
they are not being embraced here. So don't you think maybe a collaboration with some
Definitely.
out there artists will help the message?
Definitely, we
to
are
spread
working on that.
across? You're working on that?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
trying to get more local content and then get some collaborations with some very good local artists and see how I can push my conscious thoughts and feelings out there into the Ghanaian space.
Rightly said.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any upcoming project aside illegal mining and the issue of peace? Do you have any?
Yes. I have an album coming up. It's called Moon in the Night. Yes, and it is also like an eco-conscious album. You know what I'm saying? I have a salad of ideas like in there, like songs talking about world peace, of course. About Galamsey. I have songs talking about inner peace, how to attain that state of peace. Yes, and then a number of interesting songs. I have a whole song on Kwame Nkrumah. I'm a Pan-Africanist as well.
Oh, okay.
I believe in the African dream.
Okay.
So yes, a lot of my songs also center or border around Africanism. Yeah. So yes, Moon in the Night was supposed to have been dropped this year, but I've like extended because there's still more work to do. So perhaps next year I think I'll drop it. And then of course I have some activisms lined up. Yes. I think there'll be one event outside Ghana early next year.
Okay.
I'll participate. I'll represent Ghana. Like out there. And then I'm trying to also start local activism. I'm saying? Like, try to bring my ambassador friends out there into Ghana and see how they can help. Yes. They are interested, so I'm actually working on that. I'll try and bring them into our space and see how we can actually get things working.
All right. Do you have social media handles?
Yes. My handles are Kwejo Spiri. Everywhere. On X is at Kwejo Spiri. On Facebook is Kwejo Spiri. On Instagram is Kwejo Spiri. And then you can find my music everywhere, on Apple Music, on Spotify. Just Google my name, and then you can have all my albums and songs I've made. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have just a minute to say something to our viewers on any present social issue you'd want to talk about. Just say something to them.
Yeah.
That's your camera.
Ghanaians, I would really love to plead with you. I know life they always say is a struggle. We are all looking for money, you know what I'm saying? And Galamsey is actually an offshoot for our crave, for material wealth. But in doing all this, I believe we should put our humanity first. You know what I'm saying? We should put our life first. I mean, if you are sick in the hospital and you are at the brink of death, at that moment, you will realize that life is everything, that the money you are so much, hustling to find cannot really like save you at that point. I don't want you to get to that brink before you have a change of mind. You know what I'm saying? You can have a change of mind when you think deeply, about what life is about. So in our quest to find money and look for our families, I pray that somehow you'll be able to put humanity and life first. Okay, think about your neighbor, think about your fellow. Let not your activities be deleterious, or let not your activities like in life endanger the person next to you. Okay, so let's make sure that we abide. We liaise with the government, to put a halt to this devastating menace that is encroaching us and making us lose our minds. You know what I'm saying? We are losing our health. We are losing everything. Let's look at life. Let's look at health. And let's prioritize these on top of everything.
Thank you so much. Kojo Spiri
That's right.
is an environmental advocate and a musician. He was our guest for today's conversation as we discussed community engagement through music. I hope you've learned something and you have been ignited, with your mindset against some social issues. We can all fight our problems together if only we have the mindset, we have one mindset to fight it. We would definitely fight that. Thank you so much, Kojo, for making it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
so much
we really appreciate it. Okay, so up next is our birthday segment. Let's take a few birthdays.
I heard today was your birthday. I heard today was your birthday.
And you're welcome back. Let's take our birthday celebrant for today. So today is my birthday, and I pray for God guidance and protection, long life and prosperity. Andres Judge Wawa. Oh, our very own Judge Wawa. A happy birthday going out to you. We also have this. Good morning, Mimi. Please wish my friend Mr. John Edem Promise a birthday for me. So may he be greater. God bless him and may he enjoy his day from now and evermore. This from your own Nashika. Nashika wishes you a happy birthday, Mr. John Edem Promise. Thank you very much. We have Benedict and Ketia Kwate standing by to take us into the world of sports. Let's take this break out. When we come back, sports is next. And you're welcome back to the Koko Digest Morning Show. Benedict Nketia is here, and he's ready to take us into the world of sports. Benedict, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Mimi.
So earlier I was discussing with Nanaya Wasari that we, the Manchester United fans, we give glory to God for attacking me. But I mean, anywhere there's a win, I'd have to go with my team.
Yes, yes. So you're actually a Manchester United fan.
Oh yes, low key.
No, you have to stand by them.
Please,
you have to stand by them.
And channel my disappointing.
Oh, I mean, it's a long-term project they are embarking on. So, and we believe in Amorim. He has quality players. He will perform. He will do better.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
It's the fasting and prayers we did.
Thank you.
That has
Thank
saved
you.
the team.
It's helping them. So
But
please
what's
continue.
happening? What's happening?
Yes. First of all, let me give thanks to our viewers, the sports world out there, and of course, this is the sports update segment. My name is Benedict Nketia. No, you know, we'll bring you nothing but the best in the world of sport, and we are covering all the action, both local and international. Mimi, one of, like you asked, what's happening? Just last night we had the Ballon d'Or ceremony.
Yeah.
That is the highest, the peak of ceremonies when we talk about football. But first of all, let's talk about let's come down to our country, what is happening around us.
Okay.
President John Dramani Mahama met with a delegation from Asante Kotoko and Bibiani Coastal. That was around over the week to delegate them. They are going for the CAF competition. But then through that, Mahama revealed that they are donating, as the government is giving each team, the Premier League teams, 1 million Ghana cedis just to support them.
Wow.
Yes, so the government is investing into our local league now. So
the kind of motivation they need.
Yes, each of the 18 teams in the Ghana Premier League is receiving 1 million Ghana cedis.
Wow. Just
to boost their revenue, boost their games, give the players morale, and then whatever it is that they find themselves doing, this money is to help them and support them. And I think it's a good step in a way, looking at most of the teams, their finances now. Our local league is not really improving due to monetary issues. So this is a very good initiative. Kudos to Kets, and then kudos to President Mahama and his government. But one thing I would like to touch on is the Women's League too. They need this kind of support.
Yeah.
President Mahama revealed that this is not just a one-time project, and this is just the beginning. Meaning there is room to do more. They are going to invest more, and hopefully they can extend it to the division leagues and then the women's league too, because they also need this kind of funding to also help them, and then so that they can also do what they are doing and do it best. And then we go to the GFA introducing mandatory refereeing course. So GFA is introducing some courses for teams in the Ghana Premier League, the Division League, and then the Women's League, and of course with their staff, their training staff. They want to equip them in officiating rules. The understanding is that when you understand how it's supposed to work during a football game, how a team is supposed to conduct themselves, it's going to help the team. So it's been stated that each team is supposed to partake in this refereeing training, refereeing course. So every team in the Premier League, the Division Leagues, and then the Women's League, and then their officials, they are all being introduced into this. And let me read the quotes that we got from this. It says, the integrity of the game and respect for all participants are extremely paramount. Hence, the commitment of stakeholders, including players and officials, to uphold the essence of the laws of the game is of great importance to the Ghana Football Association. That means that the Ghana Football Association is trying to make sure that all these players, all the teams involved in the Premier League, the division teams, and then the Women's League understand what it means to partake in the sport, in the games. And I think this is also a good step. This is a very good initiative. It's going to help reduce the issues of violence when it comes to football. And understanding the game is going to equip and broaden the understanding of our football players out there, so that when they go out into the international field, they'll be able to dominate and understand whatever they are doing.
I really wish this will be extended to the supporters as well.
Yes,
so
yes,
we'll
yes.
have, you
So
know,
that's
referee training for supporters too, so that they don't fight
when they go
when
to
something goes
football.
bad,
Football is supposed to bring us together. Yes. One thing I learned from sports is that every team has supporters from all over the world. Let's take Asante Kotoko, for example. Asante Kotoko have fans from Accra, from Kumasi itself, from Takoradi, Dagatis, Dagombes, everywhere. We have fans from each of these parts of Ghana supporting Asante Kotoko. And so when Kotoko is playing a game, you find these people who on any other day will be fighting amongst themselves, coming together to support Kumasi Asante Kotoko. So I think we can extend this kind of understanding, this kind of training to our fans too. The fans should take their time and understand this is football. In football, the outcome is 3. You win, you lose, you draw. When you lose, it doesn't mean that's the end. When you win today, it doesn't mean that's the end. When you draw today, it doesn't mean that's the end. And so football fans out there, they should also take a step from this and also learn to support each other, because this is football. And then let's move on to our international news. That is the Ballon d'Or ceremony that was organized just last night. Congratulations to Ousmane Dembele. He won the men's Ballon d'Or. A fun fact about him is that this is his first nomination. Talk about the women's Ballon d'Or. Aitana Bomati also won for the women's division. And then we have the women and men Yashin Trophy. Women and men Yashin Trophy. We have joggers also winning on behalf of them. We have number 10 Nuno Mendes, number 9 Donnarumma, number 8 Cole Palmer, number 7 Kylian Mbappe, number 6 Achraf Hakimi, number 5 Rafinha, number 4 Mohamed Salah, number 3 Vitinha, number 2 Lamine Yamal, and then ultimate winner is Ousmane Dembele. Congratulations once again to him. Let me quickly just read his comment when he won the trophy. He says, "Thank you to all the clubs I've played for. Stade Rennes, Borussia Dortmund, and the club I always dreamed of playing for, Barcelona. I learned so much there, playing alongside players like Messi and Iniesta. It was a great learning experience. I am so happy." So this was his message when he was called upon the podium to receive his Ballon d'Or. So congratulations once again to Ousmane Dembele. Congratulations to all the winners of last night's Ballon d'Or ceremony. And then, of course, congratulations to Lamine Yamal. I cannot go without congratulating my boy. You have a great potential ahead of you. Don't worry at all. This trophy will become something that will be packed in your trophy room. That is it for the sports.
Congratulations to Manchester United fans.
Congratulations to Manchester United and their fans worldwide for winning your game last night. On Saturday against Chelsea. Yes, congratulations to you. And that is it for Sports Update segment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Benedict Nketia Kwarteng. Peter Isia is on standby to give us all the latest in business. Stay with us.
Hello, good morning and welcome. This is the Business Update segment on the Koko Digest Morning Show. My name is Peter Ntia, and now let's get started with our stories. Investor appetite for Treasury bill picked up momentum last week, surpassing government's target by 14.14%. Bank of Ghana data shows that the Treasury accepted 3.43 billion Ghana cedis worth of bids, above the planned 3.10 billion Ghana cedis. My colleague Felix has more details.
One-day bill dominated subscriptions with 2.57 billion Ghana cedis accepted out of 2.58 billion Ghana cedis tendered. It was followed by the 182-day bill, which recorded 608 million Ghana cedis out of 613 million Ghana cedis, while the 364-day note saw 247 million Ghana cedis accepted against 250 million Ghana cedis submitted. Market analysts linked the oversubscription to strong investor demand, improved treasury absorption, and a relatively moderate issuance target. On the yield curve, rates dipped across all short-term maturities. The 91-day bill slid by 7 basis points to 10.45%. The 182-day dropped by 8 basis points to 12.36%, and the 364-day eased by 7 basis points to 12.88%. For the next auction, the government aims to raise 5.58 billion Ghana cedis.
Away from Treasury bills, the government is undertaking major reforms in public procurement system aimed at reducing billions of cedis lost annually through irregularities. Speaking at the National Procurement and Supply Conference, Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyako Ampem referenced a Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply report, which estimates that Ghana loses about 2.36 billion Ghana cedis each year due to procurement breaches. These losses, he noted, deprive the country of critical resources needed for infrastructure, healthcare, education, and climate-resilient projects.
The challenges identified include unauthorized procurement, inconsistent evaluation processes, weak supervision, and specification tailored to favor certain suppliers' practices that have eroded both development outcomes and public trust. To address these issues, government has amended the Public Procurement Act to ensure that commencement certificate and budgetary allocations are mandatory for all central government-funded procurement. In addition, the Ministry of Finance has established a Public Financial Management Compliance Division to enforce adherence through the Ghana Electronic Procurement System. Cabinet is also reviewing the Procurement Practicing Bill, which seeks to professionalize the field, strengthen anti-corruption measures, and promote sustainable and transparent procurement practices. According to Mr. Nyako Ampem, these reforms are aligned with President John Maham's economic reset agenda and the 24-hour economy program, which emphasize local production, green procurement, and job creation.
On to our last story, peasant farmers in Ghana have raised concerns that the country's annual food import bill, currently estimated at over $3.5 billion, could rise even further if stronger measures are not taken to curb illegal mining. Their warning follows a new study by Pure Earth and Environmental Protection Agency, which uncovered widespread contamination of farmlands and water bodies with mercury, arsenic, lead, and other heavy metals in artisanal and small-scale gold mining.
According to the farmers, the pollution threatens food security and public health, with the potential to force many producers out of cultivation if left unchecked. They caution the situation could lead to even higher food import costs as consumers lose confidence in the safety of locally grown produce.
And this is all we have for you on the Business Update segment on the Koko Digest Morning Show. Thank you for staying with us. My name is Peter Nsia. Up next is the main discussion with Clement Yabankwe. Please do stay tuned.
been hearing of medical negligence, but I didn't have a detailed knowledge about it. So I came to know what or understand what medical negligence is.
Any hospital that thinks that it is just about medicine is shooting itself in the foot, and in no time you will run bankrupt, because the depth of liability that will come to the hospital would be more than what you are making in a year.
I'll be honest, before this lecture, I thought I knew a lot, but I realized that I know very, very, very little.
I would like to say what was presented actually exceeded our expectation. And as you saw on the faces of our staff, they were all happy about the program.
In fact, we relied mostly on what we hear on the streets and on perceptions and stories of other people. But today we have been informed, we have been enlightened, we have been educated, we have become more conscientized on the need to be particular when we visit the hospitals and health facilities to assist healthcare, so that when something goes wrong, we can take the necessary legal actions to claim compensations and to ensure that we are adequately compensated for.
Anybody in the medical field is fixed with a certain standard of care. When we say standard of care, it means that the requirements required of you is one which is very high, is one which is affixed by your profession. So that a nurse, a doctor, anesthetic, a surgeon, anybody operating in that space, licensed to be in the health sector, is governed by rules and regulations. And that licensure requires that you act according to the body of medical opinion required of such a person, so that if you fail to act in accordance with that standard of opinion required by that body of opinion, then we say that you have been negligent.
This is the first time we having a body, that is also having a vision or an aim of trying to assist healthcare providers to also up their game when it comes to this.
This has been an eye-opener for me, and I'm sure it has also been an eye-opener for my colleagues, and we've learned a lot today.
Article 30 of the 1992 Constitution, which deals with the right of the sick, and to the extent of how serious it is, requires that the President should report to Parliament periodically on the state of affairs as far as the health of citizens are concerned.
It's something that we really need. Sometimes we are taken through some protocols or procedure, but after about a month or two, we get laxed with it. So we need constant reminders. So it's very important that we have regular programs like this.
The other important thing that we also need to know is the reason to ask questions whenever we are in the consulting room. Whatever or whichever medicine prescription is giving you, you always need to ask questions about it.
Being a midwife, I am happy because he's drawn my attention to it that we have to be serious with our pathograph. When you are monitoring a woman is in labor, you should monitor your contractions, fetal heart rate, and be able to identify when something is going wrong so that you call in your obstetrician and gynecologist for a quick intervention.
If a baby is born alive and tragically passes away post-birth, this will be regarded as infant mortality. Infant wrongful death occurs when a baby dies due to negligence and medical malpractice.
Wrongful infant death is on the rise in our country, and there should be ways and means that we should all put in place to mitigate this rise. And one way is to ensure that all our staff are educated on the causes and also the prevention of wrongful infant death.
Any clinical case which goes to court, yes, if it goes to court, it's a medical legal case, but it is not absolute. We have other medical legal cases that don't get to the court as a result of the Ghanaian popular phrase, Fama Nyame. It is one thing that we need to correct ourselves about Fama Nyame, because we are losing lives through that, and aside that, we are also not helping the law develop.
Currently, there are lots of medical legal issues in the system, and most of us don't know what we do that causes medical negligence. So if such seminars are being held in the hospitals, it's going to open our knowledge or our understanding as to where we are supposed to operate as medical professionals.
And I really hope that this advocacy will continue not just in Accra, but it will be extended to the regions and other parts of Ghana.
I would recommend that the Ministry of Health or the Kwesi Government Hospital recommends all these lectures for their institutions annually.
Going forward, I think that this should also be, sent to the other parts of the country. It can be a government project. The Ministry of Health or the Ghana Health Service can take it up to make sure that it's to other parts of the country, from Boko to Boligatanga to all the parts of the country.
I encourage colleagues and health institutions to invest more in getting this available. At this juncture, management, in terms of the whole structure of Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health as a whole, need to invest, need to encourage the health institutions invest in this form of knowledge acquisition.
And I think we should also embrace these seminars that educates all of us.
Medical negligence.
Medical negligence.
Medical negligence.
Medical negligence.
Medical negligence.
Medical negligence.
Be part of this ever-growing movement. This is where
I've been hearing of medical negligence, but I didn't have a detailed knowledge about it. So I came to know what or understand what medical negligence is.
Any hospital that thinks that it is just about medicine is shooting itself in the foot, and in no time you will run bankrupt, because the depth of liability that will come to the hospital would be more than what you are making in a year.
I'll be honest, before this lecture, I thought I knew a lot, but I realized that I know very, very, very little.
I would like to say what was presented actually exceeded our expectation. And as you saw on the faces of our staff, they were all happy about the program.
In fact, we relied mostly on what we hear on the streets and on perceptions and stories of other people. But today we have been informed, we have been enlightened, we have been educated, we have become more conscientized on the need to be particular when we visit the hospitals and health facilities to assist healthcare, so that when something goes wrong, we can take the necessary legal actions to claim compensations and to ensure that we are adequately compensated for.
Anybody in the medical field is fixed with a certain standard of care. When we say standard of care, it means that the requirements required of you is one which is very high, is one which is affixed by your profession. So that a nurse, a doctor, anesthetic, a surgeon, anybody operating in that space, licensed to be in the health sector, is governed by rules and regulations. And that licensure requires that you act according to the body of medical opinion required of such a person, so that if you fail to act in accordance with that standard of opinion required by that body of opinion, then we say that you have been negligent.
This is the first time we having a body, that is also having a vision or an aim of trying to assist healthcare providers to also up their game when it comes to this.
This has been an eye-opener for me, and I'm sure it has also been an eye-opener for my colleagues, and we've learned a lot today.
Article 30 of the 1992 Constitution, which deals with the right of the sick, and to the extent of how serious it is, requires that the President should report to Parliament periodically on the state of affairs as far as the health of citizens are concerned.
it's something that we really need. Sometimes we are taking through some protocols or procedure, but after about a month or two, we get laxed with it. So we need constant reminders. So it's very important that we have regular programs like this.
The other important thing that we also need to know is the reason to ask questions whenever we are in the consulting room. Whatever or whichever medicine prescription is giving you, you always need to ask questions about it.
Being a midwife, I am happy because he's drawn my attention to read that we have to be serious with our pathograph. When you are monitoring a woman is in labor, you should monitor your contractions, fetal heart rate, and be able to identify when something is going wrong so that you call in your obstetrician and gynecologist for a quick intervention.
If a baby is born alive and tragically passes away post-birth, this will be regarded as infant mortality. Infant wrongful death occurs when a baby dies due to negligence and medical malpractice.
Wrongful infant death is on the rise in our country, and there should be ways and means that we should all put in place to mitigate this rise. And one way is to ensure that all our staff are educated on the causes and also the prevention of wrongful infant death.
Any clinical case which goes to court, yes, if it goes to court, it's a medical legal case, but it is not absolute. We have other medical legal cases that don't get to the court as a result of the Ghanaian popular phrase, Fama Nyame. It is one thing that we need to correct ourselves about Fama Nyame because we are losing lives through that. And aside that, we are also not helping the law develop. I have a feeling we are solving a problem. Order in court.
Currently, there are lots of medical legal issues in the system, and most of us don't know what we do that causes medical negligence. So if such seminars are being held in the hospitals, it's going to open our knowledge or our understanding as to where we are supposed to operate as medical professionals.
And I really hope that this advocacy will continue not just in Accra, but it will be extended to the regions and other parts of Ghana.
I would recommend that the Ministry of Health or the Kwesi Government Hospital recommends all these lectures for their institutions annually.
Going forward, I think that this should also be, sent to the other parts of the country. It can be a government project. The Ministry of Health or the Ghana Health Service can take it up to make sure that it's to other parts of the country, from Boko to Boligatanga to all the parts of the country.
I encourage colleagues and health institutions to invest more in getting this available. At this juncture, management, in terms of the whole structure of Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health as a whole, need to invest, need to encourage the health institutions invest in this form of knowledge acquisition.
And I think we should also embrace these seminars that educate all of us.
Medical negligence.
Medical negligence.
Medical negligence.
Medical negligence.
Medical negligence.
Medical negligence.
Be part of this ever-growing movement. This is where medicine
I've been hearing of medical negligence, but I didn't have a detailed knowledge about it. So I came to know what or understand what medical negligence is.
Any hospital that thinks that it is just about medicine is shooting itself in the foot, and in no time you will run bankrupt because the depth of liability that will come to the hospital would be more than what you are making in a year.
I'll be honest, before this lecture, I thought I knew a lot, but I realized that I know very, very, very little.
I would like to say what was presented actually exceeded our expectation. And as you saw on the faces of our staff, they were all happy about the program.
In fact, we relied mostly on what we hear on the streets and on perceptions and stories of other people. But today we have been informed, we have been enlightened, we have been educated, we have become more conscientized on the need to be particular when we visit the hospitals and health facilities to assist healthcare, so that when something goes wrong, we can take the necessary legal actions to claim compensations and to ensure that we are adequately compensated for.
Anybody in the medical field is fixed with a certain standard of care. When we say standard of care, it means that the requirements required of you is one which is very high, is one which is affixed by your profession. So that a nurse, a doctor, anesthetic, a surgeon, anybody operating in that space, licensed to be in the health sector, is governed by rules and regulations. And that licensure requires that you act according to the body of medical opinion required of such a person, so that if you fail to act in accordance with that standard of opinion required by that body of opinion, then we say that you have been negligent.
This is the first time we having a body, that is also having a vision or an aim of trying to assist healthcare providers to also up their game when it comes to this.
This has been an eye-opener for me, and I'm sure it has also been an eye-opener for my colleagues, and we've learned a lot today.
Article 30 of the 1992 Constitution, which deals with the right of the sick, and to the extent of how serious it is, requires that the President should report to Parliament periodically on the state of affairs as far as the health of citizens are concerned.
It's something that we really need. Sometimes we are taking through some protocols or procedure, but after about a month or two, we get laxed with it. So we need constant reminders. So it's very important that we have regular programs like this.
The other important thing that we also need to know is the reason to ask questions whenever we are in the consulting room. Whatever or whichever medicine prescription is giving you, you always need to ask questions about it.
Being a midwife, I am happy because he's drawn my attention to read that we have to be serious with our pathograph. When you are monitoring a woman is in labor, you should monitor your contractions, fetal heart rate, and be able to identify when something is going wrong, so that you call in your obstetrician and gynecologist for a quick intervention.
If a baby is born alive and tragically passes away post-birth, this will be regarded as infant mortality. Infant wrongful death occurs when a baby dies due to negligence and medical malpractice.
Wrongful infant death is on the rise in our country, and there should be ways and means that we should all put in place to mitigate this rise. And one way is to ensure that all our staff are educated on the causes and also the prevention of wrongful infant death.
Any clinical case which goes to court, yes, if it goes to court, it's a medical legal case, but it is not absolute. We have other medical legal cases that don't get to the court as a result of the Ghanaian popular phrase, Famanyami. It is one thing that we need to correct ourselves about Famanyami, because we are losing lives through that, and aside that, we are also not helping the law develop. I have a feeling we are solving the problem. Order in court.
Currently, there are lots of medical legal.
Good morning, welcome back to the Koko Digest Morning Show. I am Clement Yabankwe, and this morning we'll be discussing a very interesting topic, and I think you don't want to miss. So I just wanted to call a friend, text a friend, that we are back on the screen, and it's all about Koko Digest Morning Show, as I said earlier. What happens if you step in terms of reproduction, decide to help couples by probably donating a sperm or an egg, or you decide to keep the embryo of couples in your womb as a woman for a period of 9 months? What happens to you? What do you stand to gain? Is there any legal backing in Ghana? What about the world? What do they practice?
What does the law say? This and many more is the reason why this morning we are on your screen to bring you all the analysis, the challenges, the benefits, the legal framework about third-party reproduction in Ghana. And our topic this morning is understanding the third-party reproduction in Ghana. And I'm doing this with a lawyer who happens to be the advocate, senior advocate for HESE Medical Negligence Conference, which just happened last Friday. He is a senior lawyer from the ICAM Law, and he's the person of lawyer HESE. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
You look so smart.
Thank you so much. I'm learning from you.
Oh, lawyer. Lawyer, last Friday we had a program. It's all about medical negligence. And this time around, it took a different fold. It was a conference, not just the usual seminar you used to have. We'd like to find out that measuring your expectation and looking at the outputs of the Friday's conference, did you meet the expectation, intended purpose?
Yes, thanks. We exceeded the expectation, indeed, because this was the maiden edition. I mean, about a decade, we had run various roadshow seminars at various hospitals. We had some hospitals doing it 2-3 times, some their first or second, But this time around, we decided to have a conference and to get a resolution out there. Indeed, this week would meet the Director General of Ghana, of Ministry of Health, to present our resolution to him in respect of the conference, because for conferences to come off, there must be a resolution to ensure the impact or the sustainability of it, and so that that kind of success indicators would measure on from there. So it was a success apart from over subscription by the participants. We also had online through our Zoom link overwhelming participants. So to all intents and purposes, it was a success.
Thank you so much. I think that is what viewers you can see on the screen. That's some of the shots from last Friday's program. And it's all about understanding the third-party reproduction in Ghana. That's the discussion we are going to have. Lawyer, last Friday, we asked you a question. That's what was the reason why such topic was selected? People want to know why. And I think you spoke to it. You want to take that video. Then right after the video, you just also add your thoughts. So producer, let's get that video on the screen.
Reproductive technology, because for the past 30 years, this has been a problem, and year in, year out, couples tend to have babies, and you have the charlatan ones causing problems. And because you have issues of, we need to know the cap on the donor gametes. So if it's a man is donating sperms, what is the limit of it? The same thing for a lady with the ova. Now, we also look at commodification. So when we talk about commodification, it goes with commercialization of the bodies of the woman. The woman should have right to self-determination. And in that also dovetails or leads us to whether contracts under surrogacy are enforceable. At common law, they are not enforceable. What will be the position of the law in Ghana? So these are the major problems that exist for the regulation of such societies. So I mean, basically, if it comes under law of thought, and law of thought is a civil aspect of the law, so that yes, even though there is no regulation in that space, best practice is what guides the space. So that when we say best practice in law, we say body of medical opinion. So what the body of medical opinion in terms of obs and gynae deemed as right in conducting surrogacy or in vitro fertilization that is what must be. So that if a practitioner falls below that standard, then we say that person has been negligent, and whatever liabilities that will amount, it will be the lawyer to evaluate that evidence and mount an action against that particular institution or the
the particular primary tortfeasor, that's the wrongdoer, the health worker, or jointly and severally. And there are instances where we also represent the institution as that. So it is just not about going after the hospitals. It's also about representing the hospitals themselves, representing the health workers themselves.
So that's the video. That's what you told the media last Friday. The reason for selecting that particular team. But before you speak to that, someone would ask, what is all about third-party reproduction? What is all about it?
I would want to read from the Act, if you permit me. So this is the Registration of Births and Deaths Act. And this is the closest that we have any law in Ghana that deals with surrogacy or anything ART. This law, because it deals with persons born through ART or surrogacy, it allows for the registration of their births. And to that extent is why we have this law. So let's look at the definition it places on it. So it says that surrogacy, that's section 48, the interpretation aspect. Surrogacy means an arrangement where an embryo formed from an egg and sperm of persons other than a surrogate mother and the partner or husband of that surrogate mother is implanted into the surrogate mother. Or B, a gamete. So gamete is the donation, that's the sperm or the ova of the woman. A gamete from a person other than the partner or husband of a surrogate mother is introduced into the surrogate mother to fertilize the egg of that surrogate mother, to enable the surrogate mother carry the fetus for the period of pregnancy and give birth at the end of the period on behalf of another woman or the intended parent. A surrogate mother means a person who has acted under a surrogacy arrangement to carry a fetus for the period of pregnancy and give birth to a baby at the end of the period on behalf of another woman or the intended parent. So, I mean, with this definition, it's clear. And in this definition, it has two aspects of it. We have the gestational and then the traditional. So with the gestational, you have a woman who carries the baby on behalf of the intended parents after in vitro fertilization had been done in the lab and it is inserted or implanted in the woman. So when that happens, indeed, the ova that is used to do the in vitro with the sperm is not the ova of the woman carrying the child. So that woman does not have any biological connection with the child at all. She's merely a carrier of a baby. And it requires that there need to be regulation. Number one, in other jurisdictions, in UK and then Australia and the US, the person needs to be 21 years and above, should have given birth, at least she must have a child, and then also there shouldn't be an enterprise that is engaged in the commercial arrangement of such surrogate mothers. It is criminal, it's subject to fine or imprisonment or both in all these jurisdictions I mentioned. And even where there are reasonable expenses to be made, it is strictly regulated by law in these jurisdictions. But in Ghana, there's nothing like that. Now, we have what we call altruistic surrogacy. That deals with somebody, a woman availing herself to say that I want to help this couple so to get a child. So the law indicates that payments made towards this woman are reasonable expenses towards antenatal and all those costs, the birth things and the birth expenses and all of, and also the lost earnings. So as a result of pregnancy, the woman is unable to go to work and all of that. And then also there's the absence of any law to deal with exploitation of women, commodification of women, discrimination, and then informed consent, where consent is derived. And it requires that there should be stages of this whole thing, from the quarantine stage of the OVA. The counseling is very mandatory. Having legal advisors for all parties involved. So when we say all parties, we have the intended parent, that's the parents that want to have a child, the intended parent, and the surrogate mother, and then the fertility center. All these three actors need lawyers at every point in time that surrogacy must happen. So if a facility is engaging in a surrogacy in the in vitro arrangement with any third party, and there is no legal representation along that chain value, then it is an offense.
Thank you so much for this submission. At least you break it very to the down point so that anybody at all can understand.
Yes, I like running my law like that, and people tell me on various parts that I bring the law down to the barest mill, and that's a good one, so that it makes people follow what you are doing. When you are in court, then you go and say all the legalese that you want to say.
Okay, so lawyer, let's get to this point. Here's the case that there's no legal framework in Ghana, legal backing in Ghana. Last Friday, we spoke to the director or the head of medical and dental unit of the directorate from the Ministry of Health. And he also said, yes, he believed there's no legal backing. But he said something. I want us to take that video. Just after the video, I want you to speak to it. Yeah. Then we build on it. So, let's get that video on the screen.
So thank you very much. I think what I would advise currently is that if you look at third-party reproduction, I mean, it's been going on in this country for some time now. And the various practitioners who do these things have come together and self-regulate, with the Fertility Society of Ghana. And then also, based on where each of these practitioners trained, they have some laws, SOPs that they put together, and that's what they are using, in guiding this particular. And this is the reason why the Fertility Society, together with the Ministry of Health, is coming up with a law that would, regulate, I said reproductive technology, and for that matter, gamete donation, and then also third-party reproduction in the country. As I mentioned during the program, the legal team headed by Dr. Alaji, Dr. Inua, we've taken the document or the bill to a very advanced stage now, which ultimately, hopefully, would be passed in Parliament. So I would advise that we will look forward to that. It should happen very soon. Based on some of the new knowledge that has come, I think maybe a last engagement would be appropriate for us to firm this up. But prior to this, a policy was also done. And so we are in a position where, with new knowledge coming up, be able to work on this. I would also advise that if anybody feels that they have been malhandled, yes, they can present their case first to the Ministry of Health, and then also the legal team can.
Yes, so that is Dr. Ernest Kunedu Asedu.
Yes.
This is what he said.
Yes.
Lawyer, do you have anything to say concerning what he said?
First and foremost, let me render my unwavering appreciation to the Ministry of Health. We had contacted them for the past 5 months towards this event, and the reception has been very, very great. And also with the Fertility Society, Dr. Kantum, Dr. Aite Paddy, Dr. Promise, they've all been so great towards me. I mean, being a lawyer and deciding to branch into that area because medical negligence and coming under the broader umbrella, medical law practice is one of my keen areas of interest. They showed me immense support, and I'm very grateful. I mean, together we can build the kind of Ghana that we want and the quality of healthcare service. Because, I mean, healthcare is just not about medicine alone, but it works with law, because it's the reason why we need regulation to assess healthcare in this direction. Now, he hit the nail on the head. The point is that definitely, in as much as the space is not regulated, you have the Fertility Society that has members to it. They fall on what you call peer review arrangement, so that what is good here should be good there. What is good there should be good there. So if in the collective one nut goes rogue, the collectives come together and they deal with that particular person, so that at every point in time they would have quality health care rendered to the general public. The problem is persons who are not part of the society, what happens to that? Your guess is as good as mine. So the Fertility Society is doing something great in order to help in that particular direction. Now, in the unforeseen circumstance where we experience, or a person or a client, a patient experiences any negligence in that direction, that person has right to the court, and it comes under what we call law of tort.
Okay.
A law of tort, like I said in the interview, is an area that comes under civil law. And I mean, generally in law, we have two branches, the criminal and then the civil. So under civil law, we have various ones. We have law of evidence, we have contracts. It's the same thing. We have law of tort. And then in law of tort, about 2/3 of law of tort deals with negligence. You know, so and in negligence, we have skilled negligence. So skilled labor that suffers negligence. Now, in dealing with it, where any wrong or harm has been occasioned against somebody, the remedy is compensation.
Okay.
Now, with skilled persons, the basic understanding is that when they act below the standard of care, then that particular person has caused negligence. So we have what we call duty of care.
Okay.
And then we have the duty, then the breach of the duty. Then we look at causation, because there should be a causal link to the breach. If there is not a causal link, then when we say the tortfeasor is the wrongdoer, you cannot hold that person to it. So these are the elements to it. Then we have the remote cause, but that one is not of interest to us, because that is more of the classroom work or even of court related.
Okay. Thank you so much. When you're talking, you made mention of skilled person in your conversation. Who is a skilled person in this context?
So a skilled person is someone who has gone through a professional journey and licensed to practice medicine, or a healthcare worker who is under licensure to practice. And definitely, while that person is practicing, there is this body of medical opinion that have standardized procedures and all of that person ought to follow. So that if that person fails to follow that and harm or injury or death happens, then the first point of call we look at is what is the body of medical opinion? What do they say? Now, I have a medical negligence matter on my table, which is almost ripe. I don't even know whether to say it, but parties devoid. So surgery towel was left in somebody's stomach, the person died. The person, you know, when you leave such towels, doctors leave such towels during surgery, the doctors say, because we always work with consultants, and the consultants told me that let's wait for the coroner's report. So I requested that I need toxicology test on the body, and also need the pathological report or the pathologist report. Now, the summary that came out confirmed our fears, or confirmed our expert opinion that there has been a fistula. So the body naturally would push out the towel, and it would perforate. It perforated part of the inner organs and to the outlet, and it came out, excuse my language for this one, it came out as feces. So the lady had to pull this out. I mean, she grew so thin, yes, as if she was suffering from cancer or some related. Yeah, and by the time 2 hospitals detected it, it was too late.
It was too late. I
think we are
this...
bringing an action in that direction.
Okay, lawyer. Let's now look at the ethical and cultural beliefs when it comes to Ghana about third-party reproduction. How do people behave out there? For example, I'm unable to give birth with my partner, and someone is stepping in to carry our fertilized sperm and egg. Has it been with some kind of dent in Ghana? Do they welcome this in terms of cultural belief? Yeah,
I mean, first and foremost, before we start, I was telling you that this journey. Hiaji, Woodman, and Akron, they had estimated that 15% in their research paper, surrogacy in Ghana, and they looked at the experiences of clients in respect of services rendered by these fertility societies, and it was published in 2023, and they concluded that 15% of Ghanaians have fertility and infertility related matters. Now, this other author, a medical author, is called Gilhide, also indicated that we have 11.3% of women who are suffering from infertility related matters.
Okay.
And then we have 12% of men suffering from that. So definitely you look at the statistics and it rallies around all of that. It also indicates that, in Africa and more so in Ghana, we live by social arrangement.
Yeah.
And in that social arrangement, the unit of family sees childbirth as the way to go. It brings confidence. It brings that kind of actualization to the family, so that if the family does not have a child, the family feels that irrespective of money acquired, wealth acquired, they still feel that they have not arrived and something must happen. So you have persons plowing through spiritual matters and other things. But these authors tell us that infertility issues come about as a result of postpartum infections, abortion, post-abortion infections, and sexually transmitted infections. So some of these infections that remain untreated result in these things, which causes all of these things. Now, indeed, when it comes to couples seeking third-party assistance, it is one that is not really accepted because it has its cultural connotations.
Okay.
And families struggle. Indeed, it is even difficult for a couple, whether the man or the woman, to run by another party to say that my husband has low sperm count, or my wife is unable to give birth for whatever reason that may be. So that alone inhibits the ordinary couple to go out there to seek for treatment while the problem persists. So it's a cultural thing, but surrogacy is catching up. It has existed in Ghana for the past 30 years. And the literature says that the first surrogacy that was done was at Tema, if I'm not wrong. And that surrogate child is now a doctor, I hear. Yes. So that's it. And when a child is given birth through that, the registration of births and deaths Act indicates that at age 21 years, disclosure must be made to the child that indeed you were born out of surrogacy.
So,
it's a big issue.
Yes, that's what I'm coming to. How would the child feel? As a lawyer, putting yourself in such a situation, how do you think the child will welcome such a news?
It's a big issue. It's a psychological, sociological, and cultural thing for the child to digest. Because first and foremost, the child is going to see him or herself, so you are not my real parent, who donated for in vitro to happen, for who to carry me. You get it? Or if even is the traditional and my mother carried me, who is the man who donated for in vitro to happen, for insertion to happen in my mother? So these are the questions. Now, what would society also think of me where there's no father for me, where I was developed in a lab, also call it, in quotes, you know? So these are things, and I believe that before a child, in the birth and the registration of birth and death, it does not indicate that there should be a clinical psychologist to come in before all of these things are done. It just says that disclosures would be done after age 21.
So, lawyer, I still want to stay on this very issue. In your own opinion, how do you think disclosure needs to be done to the child? What process should it be taken? Because we've come to understand when it comes to Ghana, we have a way of communicating, especially when it comes to funeral announcements. We have a way of communicating to whoever is bereaved. So how do you think that we should communicate this to a child or someone who is involved in such process? How should you go about it?
Interestingly, the Lord does not give all the cushioning and the comforting words that the child necessarily needs. It's just procedural, and it indicates that, disclosure should be procured from the registrar of births and deaths, and then the disclosures be rendered to the child. But definitely, the parents should know that there should be a psychological phase to it. And sure, definitely, having a child, like I mentioned, is a self-actualization need.
Okay.
So that the child will now he's going to jostle between, so is it that my mother or my parents, as they then were intended couple, wanted to satisfy their self-actualization. That's the reason why they brought me into this world. Am I accepting them as that? Is he going to share in their sentiments as of that time? And the reason why they brought him. So definitely there should be, it's more of a psychological state of affair and a cultural shock or a cultural resilience to deal with than legal. The legal aspect requires disclosures.
Okay. Thank you so much, Doc. Our time is fast spent.
Sure.
I'd just like to ask this question. How do you think clinics or the health facility need measures put in place to ensure protective of the data collected, confidential, as you mentioned earlier? How should we ensure that? Because by the time we realize, as the law is saying, by the age of 21, there should be disclosure. A situation where the health facility leaked the information before the age 21. What should the people in question do relating to such issue like that?
Yeah, in law of interpretation, we have what we call the objective test and then the subjective test, and it deals with what the framers of the statute thought of and what the law is. Basically, what I'm saying is that to disclose or to leak before the matured age of 21 means that the child is considered as a minor, even though age 18 is majority. But as far as this particular law is concerned, 21 years is the ripe age to disclose, because they are measuring up the mind of the child. So that if you disclose below that, they are looking at how it's going to affect the child psychologically and everything that has to do with his physiological state. And any damages that would occasion the child would be a liability on that particular facility or the tortfeasor. The tortfeasor is the wrongdoer. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, lawyer. Our time is fast spent and we'll be ending the conversation here, but we will get another day to continue because this is very broad.
Yes.
It's very broad.
Yeah, sure.
And so we'll continue another day. But before you go, what would you like to tell viewers about third-party reproduction?
Yeah, basically, I would want to say that, anybody who is, any couple, individual who is seeking to apply for these services, there are about 3,000 active lawyers in Ghana. Make sure you get an expert lawyer whose interest is in these areas to guide you along the value chain. He's the one that you can rely on and divulge all confidential matters, because that person is also enjoined under the Evidence Act in respect of client-lawyer privilege relationship and cannot divulge. And that person will lead you along the value chain in drafting all the agreements necessary, even though the agreements are common law, are not enforceable, but the lawyer is going to guide you. The Fertility Society are also enjoin you to get lawyers to assist you, because it is required at common law for lawyers to be involved in the value chain, so with intended parents. And I also pray that issues about commodification should be relegated while we await the law coming into being. Advertisement, I know people advertise and broker such arrangements. They are all illegal at common law, and all these things should be dealt away with until we have the law. I wish every viewer all the best.
Thank you so much, Lawyer Mamhese. As you heard from him, he talks about one issue of commodification should be dealt with, or we should just make sure we neglect it. Let's put it away until the law finally come to stay with us. And also, we should be very careful in terms of disclosure. As he rightly said, the law says that at the age of 21, that is the time that you need to disclose it to the child. Before the age 21 is being described as minor, which is not the best. This has been a discussion about understanding the third-party reproduction in Ghana. And I did this with lawyer Mamhese, who happens to be a senior legal consultant at ICAM Law. Yes, very senior legal at ICAM Law. So you can just reach out to him on all related issues of your legal matters. Don't go anywhere, just stay right here with us because we have amazing content for you just after this very show. And I am Clement Yabanukwe. Do enjoy the rest of the show.